Yes, thank you everyone for joining. We are so happy, so glad to have you here today. This webinar is being recorded, so yeah, it's important for us to letting you know that you will be able to see it again or share this with the people that could not attend today. We are happy to present the World Labs Awards 2025, but before that, we wanted to let the opportunity to ARM, our fantastic partner for these awards, and not only for the awards, for other amazing conservation tech programs, to present the work they are doing. And then Alex from our team will present World Labs generally, because maybe not everyone here is familiar neither with ARM nor with World Labs. And I will finish by presenting the awards before to let you the floor so you can ask all the questions you have, because we have seen quite few in the registration form already, and we'll be happy to try to answer them, obviously, because maybe we'll need some time to just go and figure out what's the best answer. But yeah, I think we are ready. So Rosalie, whenever you are ready, I can go to the next slide. But yeah, please introduce yourself and talk to us.
Great. Thank you so much, Adrian. And thank you for stepping in to help me with the technology, as my laptop is falling apart as we speak. So yeah, hi everyone. It's really great to be here and to see so many people on this call today. I can see a few familiar faces on screen too, which is lovely. So I'm Rosalie Tribe. I work as a senior manager in the sustainability team at ARM, where I lead our program and partnership management for ARM's social impact and innovation work. And ARM are the co-collaborators on these awards. So I'm just going to briefly touch on who ARM are, in case some of you aren't aware of us as a company, and on our sustainability and social impact strategies. So Adrian, could we click to next? Thank you. So ARM technology is prevalent globally, and ARM provides a high-performing and power-efficient compute platform that we estimate is reaching 70% of the world's population. And to meet the insatiable demand for compute, ARM is now delivering these advanced solutions that allow the world's leading technology companies to unleash the capabilities of AI. And ARM is at the heart of this revolution because we've got extensive technical engineering expertise and a truly global footprint, and a technology portfolio that addresses the performance, the power, and the cost requirements of devices on the market today. So to take you through just a quick history of ARM. Our technology is built on decades of research, investment, and engineering. And actually, ARM was founded by 12 engineers in a barn just outside of Cambridge, that is still there today, back in 1990. And our first big success was when our technology was designed into some of the first mobile phones and smartphones. And with the growth and the rise in connected devices, it sort of led us to where we are today. And so today, ARM technology can be found in the smallest IoT sensors to wearable devices, mobile phones, cloud servers, vast data centers, and even supercomputers. And for those of you on the call today in the conservation tech space, you may be familiar with devices such as AudioMoth, which is a bioacoustic monitoring device, and one of our processors is in there too. So it is very likely that you are all utilizing ARM technology on a daily basis. And I think the technologies we have available to us today would have been impossible to conceive for people even, I think, sort of 30 years ago. To think that we could be walking around with a music player, a telephone, a social network, financial institutions, camera, the answer to any questions you could think of, sort of at your fingertips, in your pocket. I think emerging technologies are set to, and indeed are already, exponentially transforming our world yet again. And the computing revolution has really miniaturized and accelerated and mainstreamed technology tools, products, and services in a really unprecedented way. I think including in the field of conservation. So whether you're using, tracking devices, collars, acoustic sensors, camera traps, it's very likely that ARM technology is touching your work in some way or another. And on the next slide, this is just a snapshot of our partners. So all in all, we've got over 1,000 partners that we're engaged with across the world to ensure that they have access to the ARM technology and the expertise that they need to innovate. And this ecosystem also includes more than 20 million now, actually, software developers who have given ARM the broadest software support of any compute architecture ever invented, and why we think that Arm will be the AI compute platform for everyone. And some of you may not have heard of Arm before, and I think that's because we tend to work directly with other businesses rather than being consumer facing. And that brings me to where I sit within the organization. So I work in sustainability at Arm. And the role of our sustainability team, or any sustainability team within a corporate organization, really is to manage the relationship and the trade-off between the organization and the needs of the people and planet who are our stakeholders. And sustainability is about meeting the needs of the present without compromising future generations' abilities to meet their own needs. And we think businesses and the people that work from them don't exist in a vacuum. They are part of industry, society, and the planet that we live on, and so have a responsibility to respond to some of the most pressing issues that we're facing today. And within Arm, we've developed our sustainability strategy to respond to what we see as the most pressing and interlinking issues that we're facing of climate crisis and inequality. And so we're tackling these as our most material topics from a carbon emissions perspective and a digital connectivity, digital divide perspective. And so we talk about this as trying to minimize our environmental impact and maximize our social impact. And specifically then looking at maximizing our social impact, which is where my job particularly sits, we are our overall approach is focusing on how technology can help to address inequalities and how we can extend the benefits of technology to people and areas that are yet to fully benefit by connecting Arm's capabilities and resources with our societal responsibilities. So within our team, we're looking at how we can surface and catalyze and optimize high impact opportunities and technologies that can help improve lives and livelihoods and care for the environment. And we want to be a positive driver for inclusive innovation by supporting development of solutions by innovators like all of you to ensure that we are creating socially, culturally, and diverse solutions to address these issues. And we're really looking to try and understand sort of a more holistic view of the needs of and the role for technology in contributing to solutions for the climate crisis and addressing inequalities around the world. And just the pictures you see on screen there are from a number of our sort of projects and partners that we've worked with over the year, and threw in some conservation tech ones for this audience. And so the way that we do this and the way that we're trying to create social impact through technology is one, through insight. So that's looking at how we can surface ideas and learnings to stay at the forefront of social impact understanding and to help Arm prepare and respond to sort of social threats and opportunities. Through our network, so that's looking at how we can leverage Arm's role as a connector and how we can leverage the communities and the ecosystems that we are part of, whether that's commercial or through our social impact ecosystem. And I think what we're doing within social impact and innovation is a very dynamic and constant source of new opportunities and perspectives for Arm. And then the big part of our work is through partnerships. So how do we work directly with charities, NGOs, not-for-profits, tech for good startups, and people like Fauna and Flora, Wild Labs, and you to support the delivery of these inclusive innovation solutions. And it's really important that we engage our people and our partners and global problem solvers like all of you in this work. And we really believe that to drive impact, we need technology solutions that really meet the needs of underserved and marginalized communities. So this means the solutions we support, we really want to be diverse and inclusive. And so these are just a couple of examples, again, of some of the work that we've done. So the top left, you've got our work for the Women in Conservation Technology program that we've done with Wild Labs and Fauna and Flora, first year in Kenya and the last 2 years in Tanzania, where conservationists are looking at how they can use technology to optimize their conservation work. And then in the middle, I think we've got a talking book in there somewhere that's delivering instructional and educational messages for low literacy populations cut off from other information sources. We've got Simprints in there, which is using a biometric scanner to provide people with a digital identity and connecting people to their medical records. And the examples and the figures here are just a snapshot of the impact that Arm have been able to create through this program with our partners over the years. And we really feel that we're delivering outsized impact in this space by working with and enabling the enablers such as Fauna and Flora and Wild Labs. And so Why are we involved? What is the connection there? So we've been partnering for many years now and have even actually something we're really proud of is supporting the Wild Labs platform when it was established back in 2015. I think, we understand the value in biodiversity, conservation and nature and the absolute necessity for maintaining life on Earth. And at Arm, we've got technical expertise and business resources, but we aren't conservation experts. So we want to partner with those of you who are the experts in conservation and who we see as the problem holders so that we can come together to create more impact and to create better solutions. And from a business perspective, it makes sense. And lately, I think the international private sector and governments are wising up to the pace and scale of change that is required to adapt to and mitigate climate change and biodiversity loss. And this is appearing in so many different ways. I think for corporate businesses, managing biodiversity risk can improve productivity and resilience, can underpin the organization's social license to operate and acceptability in the world. Businesses, and in fact, everyone really needs to act now, and that is the advice to understand their biodiversity risks and opportunities and sort of build accountability and disclose their actions. And there's also mandatory regulations in many countries now, specifically in the UK and Europe, that are requiring businesses to report on climate change, carbon targets. And I know there are discussions around nature-related disclosures too. So I think it's an area that hopefully more and more corporates are going to be looking into and seeing what their impacts are and how they can better support. And so then, sort of finally, last year, we launched the first Wild Labs Award round and were astounded by the volume of responses and the quality of the projects that were submitted. So I'm just really, really delighted that we are able to partner again with Wild Labs and Fauna and Flora to be able to launch this second round of the Wild Labs Awards and really hope that we can unearth new projects and new partners that are trying to bridge that gap between technology and conservation, and that through these awards we will be able to support solutions that are providing accessible, affordable, effective innovation for conservation, and looking to see where Arm technology and Arm-based technology is being utilised within that. So with that, I really look forward to seeing the applications that come in from you all, and I will hand over to Adrian and Alex to share more about Wild Labs and the awards for this year.
Thank you so much, Rosalie. That was a very great presentation, and we are also delighted to work with you for such a long time now. I think it was very important to insist on your holistic approach to the conservation tech sector, but also the fact that your technology is present almost everywhere on Earth. And you might be afraid that, hey, am I using ARM tech? Am I not? There is a specific question in the application form where you will be able to list the technology you have, because the experts from Rosalie's teams and ARM's team will be able to help you on that front. But yeah, ARM technologies is everywhere, and it's the future of the sector. Alex, are you ready to present more about Wild Labs now? And you have the slide, right?
Yes, I do. I just have to share my screen. Which
Last point before you going. If you have a specific question for Rosalie, please put them in the chat. We will answer all of them, or try to answer all of them at the end of this 3 presentations. So we can gather them all. Thank you. Yeah, we can see your screen, Alex. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I'm just to introduce myself. I'm Alex. I'm the communications and community specialist at Wild Labs, and I'm just going to do a super quick 5-minute sort of introduction on what Wild Labs is and what we do exactly, and how the awards fits into what we do, for anybody who may not be aware. So Wild Labs is essentially a global community for conservation technology, and we have actually just recently reached over 10,000 members from all around the world who use our online platform and come to virtual events and participate in research and endeavor in our funding and capacity building programs that we put on, that all sort of serve the purpose of sharing information, best practices, identifying shared challenges, finding collaborators, and improving access to resources. And generally, our community is just the go-to sort of place for all things conservation technology related, which leads to a good question of what exactly is conservation technology. Obviously, that's what these awards are all about, so it's important to sort of get to the bottom of what we mean when we say conservation tech. And funnily enough, it's sort of right in the name. Conservation tech is when people are using or making any sort of technology that is used for wildlife conservation efforts or monitoring efforts. And a great way to sort of see some examples of conservation tech being used or developed in the field is our annual Tech for Wildlife photo challenge, where we ask our community to send in photos and videos and stories of how they are using and making tech for wildlife conservation, monitoring, and whatnot. So when we say conservation tech, we imagine some of the technologies that are on display here. So we see drones, we see biologgers, we see bioacoustic devices, we see camera traps, we see AI models, and so much more. So that's on the tech side of things. And when we think about some of the conservation challenges that this tech is being used to address, we think of things like biodiversity monitoring, citizen science, illegal or unsustainable fishing, human-wildlife conflict, protected area management, wildlife crime, and so much more. And for a full list of some of those conservation challenges, as well as the types of technologies that we think of when we say conservation technology, I implore you to go to the further information page on the Wild Labs Awards, which has a big long list of tons of examples of those different types of tech, as well as conservation challenges. So that's what we mean when we say conservation tech. And that's sort of important to when we're thinking about what Wild Labs does and what we do to sort of get the job done of building this global community and network. And we do that through this 3-pillar approach of community, research, and resourcing. And I'm going to dive a little bit into each of these 3 and explain how they all sort of work together and how they lead to programs like the Wild Labs Awards. So through our community program, we bring people together on our platform, wildlabs.net, as well as through community events like Variety Hour, pictured here on the left. And in these events and in these spaces, we provide a space and time for people in the sector to convene and share ideas and collaborate and problem solve and generally build a more tight-knit sector and community. So whether it's learning about new research that's happening during Variety Hour, our monthly community call, or discovering what projects are in development or what tools are out there to be used in your research on a platform like the inventory, there's a place for everybody on Wild Labs. And when we convene these spaces for people in our community, we have such a rich opportunity to sort of hear what the sector is doing and hear what is needed from them or needed by them in order to propel the sector forward. So that brings us to this Insights division, where we essentially use this community that we've convened together in order to conduct research that gets to the bottom of what they need to make their work more effective and more efficient. And we're actually in the midst of a research project right now, which is our 5th annual State of Conservation Technology Survey. And the survey asks about what technologies you're using and making, what barriers you're facing, where you predict the sector will be down the line. And this year's survey is incredibly important because, like I said, it's the 5th year we're running it. So the results are going to feed into a 5-year trends report that tracks how the sector has been sort of ebbing and flowing and how needs have been changing over the last 5 years. And the results of these surveys are incredibly important because they help us build an evidence base for all of our programs and initiatives. So if you have 10 minutes to complete the survey, I'll be sending the link in the chat unless somebody on my team is already doing it. I can't see the chat. Or you can use this QR code here to access the survey. It should take about 10 minutes to complete, and please feel free to share it with people in your network, anybody that you know is using or making tech. Like I said, this research is critical because it feeds directly into our 3rd pillar of work, which is the pillar of work that you are all here to learn a little bit more about and ask questions about, which is our resourcing division. So in our resourcing pillar, we partner with great organizations such as ARM to unlock cross-sector partnerships that answer the collective needs that we defined in our research. So some examples of programs that came directly out of the results of research, like State of Conservation Tech, is, like Rosalie mentioned, Women in Conservation Technology, which is a conservation tech training program for early career women in East Africa, as well as the Boring Fund, which is a funding opportunity that we actually just announced the winners of yesterday. Which is specifically for projects that aren't glamorous, but are essential for building a sustainable and effective ecosystem of work. So like I said, the awards program that you're all here to learn about today was also born directly from the results of State of Conservation Technology Survey. So in order to keep having awesome funding opportunities and programs such as the Boring Fund, Women in Conservation Tech, and the Wild Labs Awards, please take the survey. Let us know what you think, what your experience has been being in this sector, so that we can continue to deliver programs in the future. And that is all from me.
Thank you so much, Alex. That was again a great presentation from you. So yeah, I've dropped the link already in the chat. So normally you don't have much more work, but yeah, please feel free to check and see if there are questions for you that you can already answered in the chat, and otherwise we will just take them in the end. So let me share my screen to dive into the topic you are interested in. So the Wild Labs Awards. Yes, why is it written 2024 and what I wanted to do? I remember that I just forgot to introduce myself first. So yeah, I'm Adrian, project manager of the resourcing program. I had the chance to run the first Wild Labs Awards 2024 last year with Rosalie, Fran, and Arm. And I wanted to start by this slide because these are the 13 amazing awardees team that are from last year. And what I wanted to share with this QR code and with this slide is that they are probably looking at you right now, like you right now, because they are from every continent. They have been working on all sorts of technologies, on various conservation challenges, and they are probably in a topic or in a subject that is similar to yours or to the one you are going to submit. So yeah, please visit this QR code and the last year awardee to see if your project might be selected, because you will see everyone has a chance to win the award. When I think about last year awards in 2024, we think about the extraordinary amount of application that we have received. And from this, we have learned so much. We have learned that it's not good to open an application period between Christmas and just start this in 1st in December and finish just after in January. So we have extended the period. But more importantly, we have learned that the sector needs funding and tech support from people, for example, from ARM engineers. And this year, we'll be happy to try to apply this lesson learned to the Wild Labs Awards 2025. So here it comes. Thank you, Alex, for this fantastic visual. Thank you for ARM to making this possible again. What about this year? This year, we are supporting up to 15 projects. 15 projects with 2 levels of grants, contrary to the 3 last year. There will be 10 grants of $10,000 available and 5 grants of $50,000 available. These grants will run for 1 year, and the application closed on the 13th of February. The award will support barely all type of projects we can imagine. We will support innovation. Whether you want to bring something new, a new technology to the sector, you want to apply a technology that's coming from another sector to your specific issue, you want to adapt the technology and apply this in another continent, this award open for you. But also, if you are a conservation organization, if you are a national park, if you are a governmental organization that want to adopt new technology, buy some cam traps, and do some new surveys, the awards are open for you too. And finally, because we know that's very difficult when you have innovated or when you have like discovered or have done some R&D, we have opened these awards for trying to scale, help you with seed funding to go and bring your project to the next level. And I think with this street typology of project, we will be able to support a wide range of projects. And yeah, that was very quick. It was the purpose of it. But what is important to remember is that we are here for you. We are here to try to listen to you. We were talking about research just previously. This research helped to build this program, but now the program will have a lot of application. But before this application, you might have questions. So please ask them in the chat. We are here to answer. Alex, I will maybe leave this slide and see if you can forward me the question from the chat, or maybe not. And we also have read what you have written in the application form, so we know that there are few questions that are could be already answered. So yeah, tell us what you have to tell. Ask the question you want to ask, and the floor is yours, dear community.
So it looks like we have one question in the chat about asking if all countries are eligible to apply.
Yeah, so as we say, the awards are open to everyone, whether you are from every continent, whether you are public organization, private organization, governmental organization. The WildLabs awards are available and open for everyone. There is one restriction that is, I think, clearly written in the application process, is that if you want to apply for the 50K grant, you cannot be an individual. You should be part of an organization.
Thank you.
I've seen another question. Can we apply to develop new concept and prototype? This is from Lot. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Yes, you can apply if you want to develop new concept. This is part of the innovation type of project. Rosalie, I think this is one question linked to ARM, but I can take it if you want. Does your project ask to use ARM technology to be eligible? Rosalie, tell me if you want me to take it.
We would really love to see the use of ARM technology within your project, and I think.
Oh, you're very quiet. Sorry, Rosalie.
Better?
Better.
I always forget. We would absolutely love to try and help you understand where ARM technology is being used within your project. I think sort of as Adrian and I have both said, ARM technology really is ubiquitous these days. It is highly likely that somewhere within the work that you're doing, ARM technology is being leveraged. So if you are unsure on that, we can absolutely support to try and investigate where it is that ARM technology may touch the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Rosalie. Lots of questions. The first always break the ice. I have forgotten to say something. We have the chance to have 3 languages spoken in our team. So if you feel comfortable, more comfortable to ask your question in Spanish or in French, we'll be able to read it, translate it, and ask it to the relevant person. Piggybacking. Oh, so there is a question about preference from Courtney. No, we don't have any preference. What does it mean? It means that we try to be agnostic in terms of technology and in terms of conservation challenges, because I think this is the force of our partnership with ARM, and this is why the Boring Fund has been also such a success the few months ago, is that we try not only to fund the crazily impactful and beautiful shiny project, such as tracking Rhino and with Biologger to avoid poaching very big issues or others, but also try to see if we can support conservation technology projects linked to insects or linked to the marine environments, the one that are not necessarily the first that come in mind, but maybe Rosalie you want to complete on that note. No, I think you say you're good.
All good. Agree with everything you just said. Yeah, I think all of the above are interesting. We're just interested to see the work that you're doing and how technology is being utilized. That's the key point, but completely agnostic in terms of location, species, type of conservation work that you're doing.
And I think you can visit the page of the awards from last year. I think we had a very nice diversity from insect monitoring with AI to bat monitoring workshop in citizen science. So yeah, please visit this page and see that we try to stick to this agnostic as a behavior. Christian is asking any advice to build a budget. I've seen Henry somewhere, I'm pretty sure, but I will take this one and maybe I'll hand it over to Henry if still here. A good budget is a budget that is very well broken down, which means that the judges, because there will be 3 rounds of judges, will be able to understand if you have sort of thought to everything. So for example, if your budget is just one line, I need money, $10,000, it won't help us to figure out the fact that you need hardware, the fact that you have staff cost, the fact that you have indirect cost. All these things that will enable us to understand that your project is really clear in your mind. But I see Henry appearing in the screen. So maybe, Henry, you want to bring a more complete response.
No, that's it, Adrian. Hi, everyone. I think you captured it really well. But yeah, we want to see a really good level of detail in your budgets, but not too much detail. So as Adrian says, we don't just want to see like whole round numbers. So let's say you're buying camera traps, for example. We don't just want to see, oh, hey, here's $2,000 on camera traps. We want to know how many camera traps that's going to go towards, even the type of camera trap as well. It's really great for us to be able to see what sort of technologies you're using, so we can see if they're ARM technologies as well. How much each individual unit costs, and that kind of goes for other aspects of the budget as well. So say, for example, you're buying accommodation or you're renting somewhere to stay, or if you're renting a vehicle, it'd be great to know how many days you're going to be, using that accommodation or using that vehicle, how much you're planning to spend each day. And that just kind of gives us an idea that you're really confident about what your project's going to look like, how it's going to play out, that you've got the experience, that you've really thought about it. But don't go crazy. We don't expect too much detail.
Thank you.
I think just if it's right to jump in just to build on that, I think seeing that level of detail that Henry mentioned helps sort of us or anyone that is judging to understand that your project is very realistic and achievable within the time frame that you're going to be delivering within the objectives that you set out to deliver. So that breakdown is really helpful to understand how feasible the project is going to be.
Yeah, in this, the perceived feasibility is one of the criteria, as you will see in the further information page. But also, you will have there is already a breakdown in the budget template that try to help you. Does it answer your question, Christian? If you are answering, then I won't be able to see it because there are a lot of messages. So yeah, I'll go to the next from Gonzalo. I have a question. This funding includes if we as an NGO want to adapt technology that is used in another country, such as Cambodia. Yeah. So basically, any sort of technology adoption, innovation, utilization, or scalability is adapted to the Wild Labs Awards. So yeah, do you think that you are eligible to apply for the awards? Gonzalo, oh, I see your face. Is it satisfying response for you? Cool. What are the duties during the year for a grantee? I have seen Lydia. I have seen some awardee that might jump and answer this question from Benny. But what do we ask during this year is maybe too much. They will tell us. Maybe not enough. They will tell us. One interview at the beginning, big. One mid-interview after 6 months, and one in the end. Plus 2 intermediate meetings at month 3 and at month 9, just to check in if everything is fine. Because we are not here to tell you what to do. We are not here to direct you or manage you. We are here to see if everything is going well. So regular checking. We have meetings that are generally 30 minutes for the intermediate one, maybe a bit longer when we want to check if the project plan is still going well, if the budget is going well. We have this meeting to see that everything is going well, and in the end there is report that will be asked to the awardee, including metrics and information about the deliverable that everyone has put in the application, but also a financial report, so we can put everything together and then forward it to our internal organization, Fauna and Flora, but also to Rosalie, so they have a concrete measure of their impact and are able to do this great presentation. But I see, Lydia, you put your camera, so maybe you can tell us how boring or cool it was to work with the team so far.
Yeah,
Because
sure. So yeah, we just had like a few intermediate meetings, which have actually been quite useful to, you know, think about where we were in the project. And yeah, they're only about 30 minutes long, and we went over where we're at with the budget, and we did like a very short kind of informal presentation. This is what we've done, this is what we're doing in the next quarter. We also published a few blog posts on the Wild Labs website, which I think was one of the asks. And I think we're also planning on making a short video for the end. I think that was also one of the plans, so we're going to be doing that soon too. But yeah, it wasn't too arduous or boring.
thank you, Lydia. I just have to say that I didn't pay Lydia. I didn't even know that she was here to say that, so I'm happy to hear that. But yeah, Benny, you are happy with the answer. Maybe Rosalie want to complete on that.
Yeah, just to sort of complement that. I think also those check-ins throughout the year, you know, the way that ARM operates anyway, you know, as Henry and Adrian knows, it's we like it to be a partnership. If we're supporting you in this award, we can utilize those check-ins to go, hey, this other thing's come up that's cool, or how can we collaborate further? Or actually, you come up against this problem. We've got someone over here we could connect you with who could help support you to unblock that. So I think, you know, it's not just a check-in, are you doing what you said you could do? It's also how can we support you to amplify that impact as well.
Yeah, completely. And this is particularly true since at the beginning of the current period, we have a meeting with the ARM tech team, so everyone can share the ID and maybe try to precise it. Sometimes there were framework question and architectural questions. So yeah, that's the point. I see Catherine. Happy to see you. She's one of the awardee, Burst Canada. So yeah, maybe you wanted to say something too.
I can second what Lydia said. I think that the asks from the reporting side have been really reasonable and really helpful and really useful. I actually really enjoy, Adrian, our check-ins, and I think they're good for us and they're really interesting to share. So I think that it's I just wanted to second what she said and say that you did not pay me either, because the check-in process has been great. And the opportunity to ask some of our engineering questions to the ARM team was also really something that we really appreciated.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Catherine, for your compliment. Does that answer your question, Benny? It seemed to. Cool. Michael, 50K grant. Does organization mean a multi-member group formed for the purpose of the application or an established entity? That's a great question, Michael. We need an established entity to be able to proceed with the payment. Henry, I see you moving your head. Maybe he's the one dealing with the internal part in Fauna and Flora. So if you want to complement this, but yeah, basically you have to be part of an established entity to apply for the 50K grant. However, this you can also like build group from different entity, and we strongly encourage cross-sector collaboration and collaboration. For example, Lydia is from ZSL, and she's working with the Open Acoustic Device team on one of the projects that was awarded this year. So that's also a possibility. I hope, Michael, that it answers your question. Not advertised in the call page, but Adrian brought a lesson from last year. Oh, thank you, Frank, for sharing this article. Yeah, we tried with Stephanie and the team to give or write 5 key lessons learned from last year to help you maybe it's it's not useful, but I guess there are 5 points that help you strengthening your application with what I've been analyzing in the first round: eligibility, then the round of analyzing by the WildLabs team, and then the one from R and from the external and independent judging panel. Thank you, Frank, for that. Jenna, you have asked, applying for to the larger grant, does being associated with a university as a doctoral student count? Of course, it does count. It's an established entity. So yeah, Jenna, you are very welcome to apply and to apply with your team or as an individual, whatever you prefer. Nathan, if you are an individual applying for the 50K grant, would it be okay if you were partnering with the university or similar? This is a very similar question, so I think, yeah, it's answered it. Yeah, if the university is the organization that can receive the 50K, then it's perfectly fine. If my answers are not satisfying, Rosalie, Alex, Henry, feel free to jump in. I'm just like see that there are more and more messages while we are answering the questions. So I'm like trying to take them as they come, but don't hesitate to jump in. Actually, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Should the individual be associated with any institute or organization during the submission of application for the 10K level project? No, contrary to the 50K, for the 10K, you are you can apply as an individual. This is possible as stated by the further in terms of the terms of reference and terms and condition that you can find in the further information page. Can the grant support ongoing projects such as biodiversity monitoring to scale up? I hope that our presentation will confirm that yes, you can scale your project thanks to the WildLabs Awards. I think one of the points that was maybe tricky last year to analyze, and I think Henry will be happy to jump in maybe on that, is to understand what the money will be used for. Because when you have a project that is already established, sometimes it's hard to say, I want to fund this specific aspect for scaling it. Sometimes just people say, oh, this project exists, so I just want to put money in. But money for what impact? Money for what technology? How, like, help the judges to understand what scaling in your mind means. And maybe Henry, I see you moving your head. You might be more precise on that front.
No, I think that's exactly right, Adrian. Yeah, it's it'd be great if you could be honest about it as well. So if it is an existing project that is already established, then that's absolutely fine. You can let us know in your application. And then, as Adrian said, just be really specific about how you're scaling it up and how this funding is going to help you do that. So in this case, say, for example, if you're looking to scale up and then innovate in your project to bring in some new tools and some new pieces of tech, then you can tell us, okay, what tech are you going to buy and how is that going to impact the existing project and what's that going to enable you to do in the future? Yeah, like the worst thing for us is if it's really unclear when reading an application, if this is just going to fund the same ongoing work. Like as Adrian says, we want to be able to see what difference this funding is going to make and what new impact it's going to have. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, I think the difference is what we are looking for. Yeah, what does it mean to fund your project in 2025? Where am I? Should the kind of grant? Yeah, Brogan, can PhD student and university? Yeah, so this Brogan question has been already answered. I hope, yes, the PhD students can apply. Oh, sorry, I didn't finish the question. So I will read it full. Can PhD student at the university apply for summer stipend funding and or to go to workshop and training? This is a question that I will answer with Rosalie, I think, because this is specifically a question that we try to address with the Boring Fund. The Boring Fund try to support projects or actions that are essential in the sector, such as students being capable to present their work, being capable to finish ongoing projects or go to workshop. While here, the WildLabs are more on the applied conservation side. And Rosalie, I see you moving your head, so maybe you want to complete. No, it's apparently fine. So, Brogan, yeah, if that answers your question, I'm happy. Otherwise, please feel free to unmute and come. Henry, you jumped.
Yeah, I guess just to very quickly build on that. So I think it's fine for these projects to have some element of workshops and training in them, but that has to be part of a wider project that's going to have its own conservation impact. As Adrian says, things like the Boring Fund, which we announced recently and we recently closed applications for, you can get funding specifically to create training materials and to do a workshop. But in this case, these projects will have to have, even more beyond that, and will have to have like wider impacts and a wider objective.
Yeah, nice completion. Thank you, Henry. Yeah, Brogan, I hope it answers your question. Don't hesitate to complete if needed. Tom, hi Tom. Are there any conditions of the grant that those seeking commercialization should be aware of, such as equity share, ownership, or of intellectual property, or requirement for open licenses? This is a very good question, and because I'm French, as you can hear, and my wording in English might be not the best for answering this question, I'm sure that this is written in the terms and condition. And if it's not, I will make sure to update this with our legal team. And I'm sure that Tommy will be able to find this information about intellectual property and requirement for open licenses in the terms and condition. But what I remember from last year is that it's not restrictive. So these conditions are not very negative, or I don't know what you characterize it for those seeking commercialization. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out by email or directly on the thread if you didn't find the information, so I can find it and share it with everyone. Is there a scoring system on the different section of the application? Hey, Saffron, yes, there is. So for those who are here, Rosalie, Henry, they might remember last year judging grid. So let me explain the judging process. First, we'll check if you are eligible or not. Last year, among the 200 application, most of them were eligible, 180. The one that were not eligible were really projects that were only conservation focused, which is, hey, I have a very fantastic project on illegal mining advocacy with policy in South America, for example, but there was no tech involved. And because it's a requirement, this is one of our eligibility check. As soon as you go from the eligibility check to the first round, you are now judged by up to 5 people per application. So it try to balance subjectivity with a grid that is explained in the first information page, but that is based on the perceived feasibility that Rosalie just explained before. Perceived feasibility is how well you are capable of explaining the project, so the people that don't know it can perceive what it will be in 2025. There is the team capacity that will be assessed. Team capacity means if you need someone that, if you need AI skills and you have no one in AI in your team capacity seems low. Team capacity does not mean that you need 20 people to achieve your project, because obviously individual can apply for the 10K. But if an individual apply for a 10K and say, hey, I want to run a CAMTRAP survey, but I have no CAMTRAP and biodiversity survey skills, this is assessed with this criteria. Then there is the contribution to the conservation technology sector. Here we try to assess what's the real impact in terms of tech, if you are innovating, in terms of conservation, if you are like adopting technology and having an impact, and this is the criteria for us to try to explain what's the conservation technology within your project. And this is for every judges at the second round, which is the Wild Labs 1. For ARM too, ARM will have this grade, but also their engineers will be capable of evaluating the technology aspect, because sometimes there are like gaps in your application technologically, and they are the best to know that. And as soon as ARM has reviewed the application, there is an independent judging panel composed of 10 people. Next year, we don't know yet the name, but they will be presented to you probably in January. Last year, you can find them on our website. And Alex, if you can find them and share the page, it would be fantastic. And these judges will score your project with the exact same criteria, so there won't be any surprise that you are not aware of. And it was Saffron, I think. I hope it will answer your question. And apparently it has. Lauren, thank you for addressing my question about whether it's a requirement to use ARM. Is it fair to say that if you apply and end up determining ARM tech is not part of the project, that the proposal is less likely to be awarded? Rosalie, this is back to one of the answers you have done. I think I already know part of the answer with your fantastic ecosystem of partner, but let's let go, and you have the floor to just take it.
No, I don't think it doesn't mean that if ARM technology isn't directly in the project particularly clearly, it doesn't mean that it isn't going to be considered. When ARM do the round of reviews, it's getting our engineers and our technical experts to look at the projects to understand the feasibility of the projects from an engineering technical perspective, particularly if the projects are deeply technical. So that's the type of review that we're doing, is this feasible from a technical perspective with what has been put in the proposal that we're particularly looking at. Of course, we would absolutely love to see where ARM tech is being utilized though, and I don't know if we found any. Maybe out of the 200 proposals last year, there are like 2 or 3 that didn't have a connection.
That's exactly the point, because if it's not one of your technology directly, or we cannot see clearly, which is most often the problem, is that we don't see it clearly in the application, because we like, is it using ARM tech? It's just interrogation mark, but otherwise it's 70% statistically plus their ecosystem of partners. So it's
we actually now say the other statistics that is used is that actually our technology is reaching 100% of the connected population.
Okay, so yeah.
And also I think within the ARM round view, if you're just explaining how technology and what technology plays a role within your projects, some of the ARM folks that I will call on will immediately be able to look at that and go, oh well, that's based on this, that, or the other processor by this company who's our partner. So yeah, don't worry if you aren't able to find that connection. Please don't let that put you off from applying.
Yeah, that's perfect, Lauren. I think you have your response. Lydia, are there limitations to how much staff time is included in the budget? There is no limitation, neither there are rules for the budget. But I might be almost certain that one of the awarded this year is only staff time. I'm pretty sure of that. And the reason for that is because we trust you dealing with the budget as long as it's clearly explained. This come back to what we just said with Henry previously. If the success of your project relies on staff time only, that's totally fine. That's perfect, because you have been clearly explaining technology, clearly explaining conservation challenges, and showing that you need data science skill only to go to the next step. So there is no limitation for the staff time included in the budget, Lydia. And I hope it answers your question. Lucia, regarding this question of the budget, do we need to provide the invoices at the end of the project? Oh, yes. Henry, you are very used to this, big thanks to CLP, because you have been doing some financial reports. Can you enlighten us, because obviously we are not done with this year cohort of the award. So what are the rules in the end with the invoices?
I need to check on the specific invoices side, but we do require as Adrian said before, financial report detailing, your expenses against the different lines in your original budget, so we can see how much you spent. But yeah, I'm not so sure on the invoices for every single line and every single item. We need to go back and have a look, and we'll make that clear in the guidelines. So we will answer that one in the FAQs after this.
Perfect. Thank you, Henry. Tom, you have asked the question again. Obviously, it's a thread about the ARM tech not included. Normally, it has been covered. Feel free to just like jump and unmute yourself if you want.
Yeah,
Paul,
fine. That's already covered. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tom. Paul, if your project cost proposal is 30,000, is this less of a selection advantage than being proposed at 50,000? This is a fantastic question. Fantastic question because last year we have received some projects that were 50K or in the 30K category, that were 40K in the 60K category. And this is not less of a selection advantage. In fact, it's even better that you perfectly know your budget. It comes back to the discussion we are having now on the budget. The more precise is your budget, the more adequate to what you have to do is your budget, the more likely you are to be selected. So if you require 40,000, because this is 40,000 in terms of staff time, tech, adoption, tech time plus whatever cost you have, it's perfect. What we will do, and that's what we have done already last year with ARM, we will discuss, okay, we have a project that is 30K in the 50K category. So it means that we can award potentially 2 more 10K people. So we will just adapt. Last year, we did the opposite. We took 2 30K grants to transform it into 60K grants because the 60K project were really outstanding. So yeah, there will be a mix, and it's why we write up to 15 projects, but that might be a lie in that context, because if we select one project at 30K, it could be up to 17. And Paul, I hope it answers your question. Safran, when is funding received? All in one lump sum at the beginning or stage payment? Very good question. The funding is received, and they are the worded here, so they might tell if we are lying. So the first part of the funding, which represents 80% of the total amount, is received as soon as all the paper and bureaucracy work is done. So you will receive 80%, likely. I don't want to say month because last year we were late by 1 month, but in May 2025, it's very likely that you will receive 80% of the funding. I think, Lydia and Catherine, this is approximately the time when you receive the money. And then the 20 remaining percent are here to will be paid when you have completed, when your project is completed. So as soon as you provide us with a report that state everything you have done, you will receive the 20% remaining. And thank you for putting your camera, Safran. It's very helpful to see that. Yeah, that's a really question. Yeah, you have one more question.
I've just asked it, but it's connected. So do you ever part fund a project? So if we put in an application for, say, 40,000, or you would part fund the 20, or we put in an application for 60, you would say, oh, we'll part fund that up to the 50.
Oh, I'm not sure to fully understand what you mean by that, but Henrik, would you be able to help me on and jump here?
Yeah, so technically we do, because we kind of offer different stages of funding between like 10,000 and 50,000. So for example, there could be a project, as you said, which is pitched as a $50,000 project, but we've looked at all our other priorities and we've made a list and we only have a certain amount of funding remaining. In that case, we may look and see, okay, it seems like this project can just scale down slightly and we can fund part of it. So in essence, yes, we do, and we do retain some flexibility when picking and choosing projects. And vice versa, some projects we may even ask to scale up as well, and maybe we'd offer even more funding. We can't predict that, obviously, at this stage, but we are flexible.
Okay, thank you. That's great.
Sorry, I was getting tired. Thank you so much, Henry, to jump in. Hope you answer your question. So, Marcelo, is it possible to include the payment for programmer services in the budget? Yes, it is. You can include any services in your budget, again, as long as it's clearly stated. So if you all like need a consultant, in biodiversity monitoring or a developer company to do 20K code time for your project, yes, it's normal. This is how it runs, and we again recommend you to put everything in your proposal, showing that you collaborate, you know the people you are working in underground, who you are going to deal with, so it's strengthen your application. Marcelo, again, if it's not clear, please jump in. Catherine, are projects evaluated independently? For example, if one organization submits two unrelated proposals, will they have a chance of both being funded? Or will you have to limit to 1 award per organization? Catherine, this is a good question. And I think there is a judging bias here that I don't know how honest I can be here. So Rosalie, Henry, don't hesitate to just mute me when I will take this answer or to take it. But first, we encourage people to submit 2 projects if they have 2 strong relevant projects. Don't just put projects in the application form just because you think it will be more likely that they will be selected. We will only select projects that are strong in the application. If there are 3 fantastic projects from the same organization that are in the top list, which was the case for the Boring Fund, for example, then we will assess this with the independent judging panel. Because in the case that 2 very strong projects from the same organization are very likely to be selected, because we try to diversify the number of technology, the number of partners, the number of organizations, the number of conservation challenges, there will be an evaluation in the end. But Rosalie, Henry, you might disagree with what I just say. We didn't have this opportunity to have like 2 projects that like were 1 and 2 from the same organization. There were 4 for the Boring Fund and 8, so it was easy. The number 8 was not selected, and the 4th was. But yeah, you might want to complement my response.
Yeah, I would say it's certainly possible to have 2 independent projects funded, especially if they are, as Adrian says, especially if they are clearly very different and they're tackling different things. Obviously, you can't submit multiple versions of the same project, and I'm sure no one here would do that. But alternatively, if you are planning to apply for, say, maybe 2 $10,000 projects, which are similar, I would recommend instead combining them into one larger project, $20,000, and yeah, applying with them in that fashion. But yeah, it's not out of the question. But I think when it comes to the final list of projects that we fund, I think we're going to try and go for some form of diversity in there. So yeah, but it's not out of the question.
And it means that your projects are evaluated independently up to the final decision. So like if we see Birds Canada in this case, because I know you, Catherine, I have the pleasure to work with you already, we'll consider the project only until the very end when we do the final list, because in the end the 30 projects that are in the final list could be easily funded. So we try to do the best mix and representative of what is the conservation tech sector right now. Yeah, Catherine, don't hesitate to jump in if you want. Benny saying goodbye. Luis, can the grant be used to hire other professionals to support part of the project, such as GIS or data analysis, for example? Yes, totally. This is how you can scale a project, how you can adopt a technology, sort of, because you adopt skills for about a specific tale, or innovate. So yeah, you can bring a consultant, or you can have staff costs being covered. But Rosalie want to jump in, so yeah, what's your your mic, please?
Thank you. At this point, can I also say it's strongly encouraged, and we really love to see collaborations too. So whilst within your own team you may not have somebody with those skills, there may be somebody else in the Wild Labs community that does that may be interested in collaborating. So just another thing to consider, to explore. If there are particular skills that you're missing, maybe there's somebody out there who would want to work with you on that, or volunteer their time for that.
And this is why ARM is a fantastic partner, is that they know so well our community that they know that you can find skills there. So yeah, that's I hope, Luis, it answered your question. Following is, does this grant allow for the inclusion of overhead and staff costs in the budget? If so, are there specific guidelines or limits regarding the percentage or amount that can be allocated to this cost? Yes, this is a lesson learned from last year. Last year, we didn't put any rule on the overheads. And so it was chaos because people were asking us what were the rules because organizations were expecting them. Here, you will find them in the application form. You will see that the overhead cost cannot exceed 5 to 7.5% of the total direct cost, which means that you have the answer of your overhead question. And for the staff cost, there is no limitation. If your project budget is only staff cost, it's fine. If there is no staff cost in your budget, it's also fine. Up to you to see whatever the money is the most useful, the most impactful. I hope it answered your question. Stefan, would project, sorry, if you like want to jump in, Rosalie or Henry. Stefan, would project be looked upon more favorably if there is a focus on a specific area of conservation, monitoring or target species, rather than primary technological development? That's an interesting question because there is no distinction between these two fields. We assess conservation challenges as much as we assess technologies. So if we see that you are only doing technology for technology development without a conservation impact, we won't consider a project. It won't be eligible. Oppositely, if you are only doing a conservation project that is not including some technology in your project, we won't consider your application. What will we consider is a project that has an ecological and conservation impact thanks to the technology it's used, whether you are innovating, adopting, or scaling this technology.
Yeah, and just to build on that very quickly, and it's we don't need to see any sort of specific conservation area or like any target species. You know, say for example, again to use the camera trap example, it doesn't need to have any sort of target species, but as long as we know the impact it's going to have for conservation in general, and maybe you could refer to a target species as an example in your proposal, but you don't have to center the whole project around a target species. That's not important.
That's very true. And I think, again, you can see what's where they were last year. They were a generic conservation challenge that were addressed thanks to technology, model development, while sometimes it was on a specific frog in the mountain of Colombia. So yeah, don't hesitate to talk to the awardee, discuss with them on the website, or ask your question on the Q&As, right? I am very afraid by your big message, Tom, so I will just take the Audrey one before, and I will see why it is so long in the meantime. Audrey, would providing technology training to conservation practitioners fall under the scope of this grant, such as through hosting workshops to improve visibility and technology adoption with local partners, separate from merely attending workshop, which was addressed already? Audrey, that's a good question, and I think it's separate from the question early. That's very true. But it will be similar response because, again, I think this is why we have constructed the borrowing fund. This is for this exact specific topic, developing workshop, developing documentation, maintaining technology to support conservation impacts. So I would say this sort of project, providing technology training for conservation practitioners, falls more under the borrowing fund. However, as Henry said just before, if a workshop is included in the bigger project, for example, we want to focus on this area, which is Zambia, for example, and you want to train rangers in Zambia on a specific tech to have specific impacts in 1 year that could be measurable, that might be a solution to fund your project. Again, if it's just workshop focus, this is more adapted for the borrowing fund. I would say maybe Rosalie and Henry want to jump, but yeah, this is similar response to what I've been said, and Audrey already is answering your message, so it's perfect. Thank you. Tom, I have seen that it's linked to the... Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's really just a request. So I reviewed the terms and conditions. There is text in here that specifies with respect to background property, intellectual property in the application, but it's not specific to the intellectual property generated during the project. So I think it's just a request that maybe in your FAQ you can add something that's more explicit about what's generated in
during
the
the
project. Yeah, would
during
be
the
great.
project. Yeah, and I'm also fairly confident that the contract that is being done at the beginning of the grant, which is only reviewed by the awardee, includes something on the intellectual property with barely the same wording for what is being developed. So I don't want to share certainty, and I will try to find this wording and share this in the Q&A thread, but this wording is for the proposal, and it will be probably the same, certainly the same for the project, because we try and not to steal anything from you, because we trust you and we know that you are doing the best, and ARM is neither, right, Rosalie?
No, really important to us in our social impact work that anything that has been even developed together with our social impact partners, the rights to the IP is owned by that partner. So
Great to hear. Thank you.
But yeah, Tom, let me come back with the formal line from the legal team of Fauna and Flora. But yeah, this is absolutely nonsense for us to have an impact on the IP. And do you ever part fund the project? Saffron, this is what I've been already answered from with Henry when I was needing some water. Frank, perhaps tired, but you're doing a great job. Thank you, Frank. Simon, I may have missed this from the innovative part of the presentation, but are ARM's engineering team available to advise or assist on developing technology needed to execute the fieldwork? Rosalie, this is a great question for you. It's from Simon at 5:03.
Found it. What is it? Is this working? I'm getting beeping in my ear. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can
Oh,
hear you
no.
properly, and
Okay, you can hear me. That's good. I'll ignore the beeping in my ear. Yeah, there are absolutely opportunities, and I think particularly early on, we really like to try and connect the awardees with ARM engineers for sort of advice, mentorship on any technology engineering related aspects of your project, caveating that with when we have that expertise in-house at ARM to be able to advise on that particular technological challenge.
this has been done at the beginning of the grant and throughout the grant, thanks to the direct channel of communication. And it will be a continuing project. Is this the end of the thread? That's great. I think these are people saying goodbye and people joking about the overheads. But it was a lot of question. Maybe I will let again few more seconds and minutes for people to think about question they have, and to think about the project they have, because here it's a good opportunity to say, oh, I have a project, but I don't have this sort of skills, and around you have 60 potential partner that could help you. Otherwise, I will be happy to wrap up and then go to a less formal presentation and have this open discussion if you wish so. But yeah, let's see what are the message coming. There is one question from Christian saying, can we find web info about ARM? Yes, I think ARM is on the web. They are quite good at technology, so I hope they have a website. Now I know they have a great website. They will.
We do indeed. There's a lot of information. It's literally www.arm.com. But also if you check out our sustainability reports, that's where you can delve into more information on what we're doing in sustainability and social impact, and see other projects and partners that we supported in case that is particularly of interest. But all about our technology and our partners is at www.arm.com.
And what I can share with you is also in the launch page of the Word. They have the main website, but also we have tried to target their project page and their ecosystem of partner page, so you can try to find information, because they are doing so much stuff. As Rosalie said, that it could be difficult to find information with so much amazing work. Okay, more question. More web info, it's okay. So if we had a multiple smaller project at a university, the suggestion would be to pull them all together into one application for the larger grant. Is that correct? I won't say this is Correct. I would say it's a potentiality, it's a possibility, but what matters is the strength and the quality of an application. So if you feel that alone with one project, you are stronger because the impact is direct, the project is clear, the plan is clear, the budget is clear, everything is understandable, the feasibility is clear, the team is clear, just go for the 10K. However, if you have multiple tiny projects that are maybe linked together by the same organization, but the different partners you're working with by the area, and that you feel that putting them all together brings more strengths, bring more team capacity, bring more collaborators, I would recommend to try to get the larger grants, but this is up to you. We won't recommend you one or the other. We will just recommend you to put the best application within the forum, because sadly we cannot fund everyone, even if Rosalie and the team is giving a lot of money already and helping us to scale this project. So yeah, we'll encourage you to do your best. And Henry, you're unmuted. Maybe you want to complete that.
No, yeah, that's the thing. As you say, Adrian, it's very hard to tell either way, and you just need to put forward what you think your strongest project is. But if we see it, but just to clarify as well, it wouldn't so much be any sort of issue if it was all coming from the same university or institution. Like, we understand that there's, going to be a lot of people wanting to apply from the same institutions, and that's absolutely fine. But perhaps if we see lots and lots of applications come through with as Adrian said, the exact same team members and the exact same partners from within that university, in that case, then it might be better just to put them together into one larger project.
Well, and Courtney is happy with the answer, so thank you, Henry, for jumping in. TJ Morel asked if we have questions throughout the process, what's the best contact recommendation? Oh, Vanessa, thank you so much for jumping in. We are lucky to have a big team now. So yes, you can send an email to the awards@wildlabs.net address. This will be reviewed either by me or likely Henry until the end of the period. But I think the best is the Q&A thread. And what I encourage you to do that is because you will see the question that are already been asked, but also people will see the answer that I provide you or that someone provide you. So it will serve the community as a whole. If your question is directly linked to your specific project, yeah, send an email. Otherwise, if it's generic question, please go on the thread. It's both are fine. Budget must be in US dollars. I'm fairly certain that it's the case, but I see Henry and Rosalie say yes. So yes, it is. And I think, yeah, that was the question. So Paul, if anyone's looking for a Canadian construction trainer for biotechnology, this is about someone trying to build a project maybe for the awards. Is ARM considering giving preference projects taking place in low-income developing countries where access to funding is low to encourage technology development usage without compromising on project quality and impact? Rosalie, I have part of the answer for that with the judging criteria, but first it's a question for you, I think. Is ARM considering giving preference projects taking place in low income and developing countries?
I think the right answer in this case, but correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, is not necessarily looking at preference for that. What we're looking at with the overall selection of the awards is ensuring that we have inclusion and diversity as a consideration, so that we're not choosing, all winners from the same university in the same country from the same demographic. But no particular preference, just bearing in mind inclusion as a measure when looking at the final selection.
That's totally the case. In the criteria, there is in the criteria for the judges, there is no point on this specific aspect of inclusion, but it's considered every single step, eligibility-wise, Wild Labs analysis, ARM analysis, and in the end, during the final section. As a good example, if you look at the statistic from the application last year, we had 35% of women or people identifying as women in the overall number of people participating. And this same representation could be seen in the awarded team, same as the number of tech lead. And obviously it's difficult for us to try to have the best demographic and say, okay, there is this even number and it's a proportion of the representation we try to, based on the quality of the application. So yeah, we try to be the most inclusive as much as we can, but we don't have any preference, and we like won't favor you just because you are from low income country or developing country, but because your application is impactful and inclusive. Tom is saying goodbye. Eston is sharing his profile to see if some people want to collaborate with him, and Christian is wishing you a happy Christmas. I think this was a much needed second round of question. Let's take a last breath before it's time to wrap up. Does anyone have a final question before we wrap up? Maybe Rosalie, after receiving that many questions in 40 minutes, you want to share something as a conclusion word?
Yeah, I guess firstly, thank you, Adrian, for so expertly curating that Q&A, and it's brilliant to see so much engagement and interest already on this call, and to see some people calling out for collaboration. So I'm just really excited to see what you all submit, and very much hope that you will consider submitting an application to the awards.
Thank you, and thank you to the team, part of the team who is still here, not during Christmas, Henry, Vanessa, and Alex, for helping us with this presentation and the response in the chat or in live and all the presentation. And yeah, we are very looking forward to see your application. We have specifically let a lot of time. It's still 2 months from the deadline, so you have time to create collaboration, to partner with organization, to build a strong project, because we know that your work is amazing, but putting this on the paper could be long sometime when it's an innovative idea, or when you want to formally work with someone. So yeah, take the time to do the best application you can, and that will highlight what you are doing underground. We are very looking forward to read that.